Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the next episode of my podcast, Dating Tips for Single Women. I'm your host, Antje Boyd, founder of Find the One Elite, and I'm really delighted to bring you different aspects and perspectives of different experts into your life so you can see what fits for you, what's the right shoe that fits, right? Because we all have different vibrations, philosophies that we resonate with. And I'm sure you're aware of that. Sometimes maybe your mom told you something a million times, and then a friend of you told you the same thing. But for some reason now it lands. So for that reason, I really developed a series of experts so that you can find the right one for you. So today I have the wonderful Amy Schoen in German, with me today. She's a dating and relationship expert. So welcome, Amy.
How are you?
Really delighted to have you and hear all about your wisdom. And you're being a mom and a wife and so much to explore. So, and before we go into that, let me just tell the listener a little bit more of who are you and what's so exciting about you. So for Amy, for over 12 years, she's a professional certified life and relationship coach. She has helped marriage-minded men and women get off the dating merry-go-round, isn't that the truth? And finally find their life partner. She also helps her clients build a loving, committed relationship that leads to marriage, if that is their goal, right? Yeah, because we don't want to assume that, right? For some, that's not the case, and that's perfectly fine. Her proprietary Motivate to Marry, a dating secrets coaching program, enables her clients to discover what they truly want in a life partner and guides them into finding love without changing who they are. Okay, so you don't have to turn yourself into a pretzel with Amy. Many of her clients find their perfect match within 6 months to a year's time, thereby gaining the peace of mind that they can now direct their energies towards being with their life partner, with their friends and family, as well as enjoying their life's pursuits. How about that? Actually stop focusing on the dating merry-go-round. Amy's also the author of Motivate to Marry. Now there's a better method to dating and relationships, and get it right this time, how to find and keep your ideal romantic partner, and has been featured in many radio, TV, and newspaper articles on dating and relationships. She lives in the Washington, D.C. metro area with her husband of 15 years. Well, she has some wisdom to share, I'm sure. Her 9-year-old son. Find out more about Amy, her services, programs, and her monthly Motivated to Marry podcast at motivatedtomarry.com. We'll also mention that at the end again. As well, you can also find her on iTunes. So with that, Amy, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Really so excited to have you and hear about all of your wisdom that you have to share, which I'm sure there's going to be.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot, right, to share.
Yeah, exactly. In a short time, yes.
Absolutely. Awesome. Great. So tell us a little bit more, like how did you come to be coaching people on dating and romantic relationships? What makes you sit here today and having spoken on, so many radio and TV shows on that very topic?
Well, I think a lot of us, like yourself, who come to coaching, come because we have a message to share, and we have personal life experiences that kind of led us here. And the same for me. I was married at 25 and divorced at 35. And so I went through a painful divorce in my mid-30s. And we were just not the right match for each other. We were like polar opposites, actually. I'm a smart woman, like your clients, I'm sure, or the people listening are smart people. I have an MBA and an engineering degree, believe it or not.
Wow.
And, I thought I knew it all and took on the world and, but I made some really bad decisions for myself. And even though my family members probably were trying to, in a nice way, tell me some things, I was pretty headstrong at that time. So when I went through my divorce and it wasn't my choice. It was something it happened. And, but in the end, it really was the best result. I figured I had a lot to learn. You know, we go to college, we learn all this stuff, and then we know nothing about relationships. Now, you know, I didn't even know stuff about my parents' relationship, and a lot of things are hidden from us because they want to like protect us. So, anyways, so I really started wanting to learn and read books. I went to seminars, and I even worked with a coach myself. And I was a pretty active dater. I'm outgoing, I'm extroverted, so that's the good news. And I did everything. You know, I got myself out there, and I made every mistake in the book. I really did. So, but I had a hard time finding men who I was going to connect with and who wanted what I wanted when I wanted it. So, you know, when I was dating in my 30s, you know, and I was pushing 40, then, you know, I was meeting a lot of men who had their families already, and I was motivated to marry, and I wanted my own child or children. So like I said, I hired a coach when I turned 40 because I was running around in circles and I was not getting anywhere. And so then that actually worked for me. I found that he really had a great system and a way of helping me see things that I wasn't seeing for myself. And I did meet my husband, Alan, and then we got engaged within 6 months and married within the year. So it kind of fits the motivated to marry model. I started observing things about timing and relationships for a certain age group. So we'll talk more about that later. So people were asking me to help them with their dating. And at that point, they knew I was successful in meeting people. And then I felt kind of like, and I was also trying to make some decisions about my career direction at the time. Because I was married, I had a store. I knew that if I wanted a family, I was going to have to shift directions. And I actually closed my store, the clothing boutique that I ran for 13 years for, in 2003. And then I went to coaching school. I discovered coaching. I went to a career coach who led me to coaching. And then I also got trained and certified because I didn't want to mess with people's lives. I wanted to have a structure and a way of working with people that was going to keep them whole and know what I'm doing. So, you know, I truly want to help others avoid making the same mistakes that I did. And it's just amazing that so I've been coaching since 2003 practically, and it's wonderful to help people achieve their goals. I'm sure you feel the same way. Yeah. And all aspects of their lives. It's so funny because sometimes people come to me for coaching, but we can't help but touch upon other parts of their lives. It's just part of it. And I did create the Motivated to Marry Dating Secrets program based on my knowledge and experience, and to really put things together in a really simple, strategic, step-by-step approach that makes it easy for people to really grasp the best way I know to help people meet people and connect with that right person.
Totally awesome. That's so great, Amy. Yeah, that's really important to have really like practical tools and step-by-step systems to know where to start, right? I get this question all the time. I don't even know where to start, right? So what do we need to keep in mind, when in terms of pacing ourselves, when it relates to dating for a serious relationship?
Well, we do have to keep, and especially when you want a serious relationship and time is so precious to you. And I see that there's a rhythm to dating. It's kind of like a dance. And you have to kind of, show interest and want to move the relationship forward. However, sometimes, people are scared that it's too much too soon. And a lot depends on, what you're looking for in your expectations. So sometimes it's too much too soon and we may scare somebody off. And other times there are big spaces and communication between, and that, just because the other person gets frustrated and that doesn't work. I feel like I'm the, was the little bears, what was the story of the, it's too hot, too cold, just right kind of thing.
Yes, yes.
The three bears, anyway. Goldilocks, that's it.
Goldilocks, yes. I just want to say, I know the bear. What was the bear
Bears
thing?
are our dates, right? Too needy, not needy enough, just right, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to be wanted, but we don't want to be smothered, right? That's, so there's really a happy in between place, and really understanding that there's a pacing to it. Some people like John Gray talk about the rubber band effect with men, and there's a timing. But I do see that, and then long distance relationships are a whole different story. So, and some people actually I have a client right now who's in a long distance relationship, and he's motivated to marry, really wants to move it to the next level and get her here and everything and move in together. And she likes it the way it is. So I have a feeling that relationship may not last, the test of time. So
right.
They like each other, so they're trying to see and work things out. So anyway, I think we're talking about checking in with our expectations here, and making sure that you're aligned with your partner, and that he or she may have a totally different come from place, and that's when things kind of don't work. So I know that one of the things I teach in the Motivated Married Dating Secrets program is to understand your come from place, and really think about your expectations and have those conversations about trying to figure out where they're coming from and what are their expectations, and do they want the same things that you want, and do they want it at the same time, and what else is going on, so it's almost amazing. It does work. But it's like it seems like there's so many variables, but when you're motivated and you really want to get married, then that's first and foremost. That should be one of your top priorities, and it's really interesting to see the timing of it, and how quickly people do connect when they do find each other. So
yeah, absolutely. And what would you say, Amy? And I love that you say that, to really also pay attention to if it's the right alignment versus turning yourself into a pretzel, right? And just saying, well, I just have to become somebody different that I'm not, right? So what patterns have you observed with your clients who are successfully connecting with their life partners?
Well, what I noticed is when both people know themselves really well, and they've done like that inner work, and they have a clear sense of what's important to them, their values, and especially their relationship values, and they really are clear about what their life vision is and their life goals, and really about what they can tolerate or what they can handle in a relationship and not handle in a relationship, then when they do meet, there's kind of like a recognition, and it really kind of quickly people to connect. It's just amazing. I've seen that, and it happened for me, and it happens for my clients. And I would say I was thinking about this question, and I said, well, it happens within 6 dates, but I have clients it's happened with 3 dates. Like they're together and exclusive. I mean, the big other question I work on in my program is when to become exclusive, and when would you become exclusive? When do you stop dating other people? And these people are just basically, they've done the work. There's just so many examples of this. One recently, and this could be somebody who's even, a lot of my clients have never been married. They're women who are pushing 40. They really want a family. But then, I also work with the divorce group, and I had a client, she was in her mid to late 40s, and she's got kids, and she was dating a guy, and it seemed to be a good relationship, but for some reason he just really couldn't commit fully. They even went to a 10-day trip to Hawaii, where she said it was the best trip of her life. But she came home, and her mother got sick, and she needed him to be there, and he wasn't there for her. And then she just knew. I mean, that was like stepped on that value. I need to know that I can count on you. And so she did. She's a smart lady, and she was able to just say, well, this is not going to work for me, and then And lo and behold, within 2 weeks, she met her now fiance. I mean, it happens so quickly. It's like when one door closes, another one opens. And she also, because we had been coaching and did that work, she was so clear and she knew which values had to be supported. And so and he was like gaga over her. Like he was like, you are it. And, I would have been like, wait, not so fast. But she kind of went with the flow. And he's everything she wanted and even more. And it was great with her children. I kind of was saying, are you sure you want to go this quickly? And they were like engaged within 6 weeks. And I mean, I really, so I, as a coach, you sit there and say, okay, well, that's great. And did you consider this? How are the kids feeling about it and all that kind of thing. So, there's just so many great things. So there is like this pacing and there is this kind of timing and this can happen like no matter what age. I mean, I have my 55 plus clients. Unbelievable. They're dating like they're 20-year-olds though.
Right? Yeah, I see that too with my clients. Like,
it's a whole different scene. But when you're focused and you really want to find a relationship, then it's really important to communicate what your needs, what you want, and what you need, and to because there's so much range in terms of what people want. Some people just want someone to hang out with, friends with benefits. Somebody not everyone wants a serious relationship that's going to lead to either marriage or not. But it's really cute when I see it, and I've had some like 60 plus clients as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's really, really awesome. And what I'm also hearing when you share the story of your client is she didn't have the scarcity thinking, right? Because she could have said, well, I can't leave him because I don't know if I'm going to find someone again. I can put up with that he's not there for me. But I really believe that her trust and her belief in abundance, she got rewarded, right?
And she had a real spiritual sense about herself, and
yeah.
She also was a real go-getter. She in her other areas of life, she was very successful. So,
yeah.
I admired her greatly and the courage it took to tell this, because I mean, he had like one toe out of the relationship, the first boyfriend, and I kind of had this inkling, because he actually was considering a job opportunity in Florida. And that was like, really, you're gonna leave us,
right? Yeah.
Us, and and I'm not ready, and I have my kids, I could go to Florida. She was doing that dance. But I think the thing about the mother and being there for her when she needed her, I mean, that was just kind of like,
it's huge. Yeah, it's definitely huge.
The deal breaker. That was the deal breaker.
Yeah. Especially in the beginning, because in the beginning, your partner should really put his best foot forward, and then if that's his best foot, then, well, you can only guess what's going to happen.
Exactly. And I think you really know within 6 months. I mean, my clients, a lot of my clients have what I call the almost not quite relationship. And there are a lot of things that are good, and it's a good person, but they're just not ready to really put themselves fully and commit fully. Or they may just not have the capacity to be in a relationship fully. These are not bad people. For instance, I have another client. She came to me. She was in a relationship. Was kind of like an on and off relationship. I was almost like a friends with benefits kind of thing. But it served her at the time because she was very busy with her career and she was in graduate school and all that. She was like, just turned 40 and really still wanted a family. And, I finally, through the coaching, we got her to the point where she got clear that she really wanted marriage and a family. And she got the courage to have the conversation with this guy because she really thought he could be the one. And he's like, marriage, family, not me. You got the wrong guy. And so basically she had to make a decision, and she decided to leave that relationship again. And again, not within, it was like within a month. I'm not telling you. This guy was admiring her from afar at work, and I don't know, it just clicked.
Yes.
And he was like the perfect guy for her, and there were some reasons why really get engaged so soon. She had medical issues with some family members, and he was actually going at a tail end of a divorce. So, there was timing issues. So, even you can be motivated, but you have to be mindful what else is going on in your life. I mean, I've had clients who've had health issues, family, taking care of parents, children issue, the whole gamut. So there are reasons why a relationship may not follow that um, course of timing. And I have different timings for different age groups, actually. So I actually created a little chart. That's the MBA in me,
Great. Oh, tell us more about that.
Yeah, so anyway, just to finish the story about Karen. So Karen actually just got married last month. So yeah, it was so cool. Yeah, but that was it was a long lead time but that she was okay with that. And she's a great, she took on the role of a step parent really nicely. But then, I had another woman who came she was in her 30s, and she was kind of shy. She was an accountant, and so I kind of helped her break out of the box. She really wasn't doing much, and I'm really good with helping people figure out where to meet people and how to put themselves out there. And, and she had some gremlins about herself, about that I'm not interesting and who would want me. And I create a tool called the Thrive model, where we focus on who they are and what they have to offer to a relationship, so to keep them in the positive place. It's the anti-gremlin. So she, and then I recommended a place, some places for her to really meet men who would be in her, age group. And she met this guy right away. I couldn't believe it, right out of the gate. And then they started dating, and they went to the social group together because, he was part of friends with these people. And so they would drive together to this group. And then she knew he was an extrovert and let him do his thing and talk to all the people and other women. And then they would leave together, and they would go on dates and do things like that. And she just was really curious, are we exclusive? Are you dating other people? She didn't know. And so through the coaching, I helped her say, okay, this is how, how do you want to ask this? And, in a perfect world, I would want the guy to approach that issue. Are you dating other people? No, I'm not dating other. Do you, let's just focus on each other. But he didn't. And so she finally had that conversation with him and said, are we exclusive? Because I just need to know. It was bothering her more. And he goes, yeah, we're exclusive. I'm not dating anyone. I was waiting for you. I couldn't believe it. But it's really funny because a year to, and I say anyone 35 and under, I want them to date for a year before they become engaged. I mean, ideally, that would be great if you had that time to really know each other and spend time and go through all the seasons together. And I got this email that says, guess what? I'm engaged. And I'm like, yes. It was year to the date she started coaching with me. So it was ideal.
Oh,
but as people get older, and I was 41 when I met my husband. So we were engaged within 6 months and married within the year. I've had clients who've been engaged within 3 months and married within 6 months, because they are looking to have a family, and they understand they wanted to not have more options around that. And they knew that they wanted to be together. I mean, there was just no kind of.
So for those listeners who are motivated to marry, Amy, what would you say are your top 3 recommendations?
Well, I think it's really, really important to really get to know yourself really well and do the inner work, the deep work, so you are clear about what you need in life, what's going to make you happy, what's fulfilling for you. And so you can recognize when that person comes along. Also to learn some key relationship skills. So you have the tools to work through things as a couple. And, I mean, my goal is I want to save you from heartache and headache and all that. And time is so precious to most of us. I mean, time is precious to my clients in their 30s and 40s and 60s. I mean, they don't know how long they have, and they want to enjoy life the best they can, as long as they can. So the second thing I would recommend is to have a plan. I mean, I work with a dating plan. I call it the Motivated Married Dating Seekers Plan, which incorporates both online and offline opportunities. As you know, over 30% of marriages now come from online dating. And that can be apps or traditional sites, but my clients are still having most success with the traditional sites. And over 80% of my successfully coupled clients have met through online dating after they've worked through my system. So it's not everything and not everybody. Some of the examples I gave you today, they met them face to face. So we look at online and face to face opportunities, and you really to kind of help you not feel like you have to do everything, but hone in those things that are really going to work for you. I take into account your personality. Introverts, have a different kind of path than an extrovert. And so you have to work with what works best for you. And so not everyone, feels comfortable going to a big group or a room, where there's hundreds of people. I mean, and not everybody wants to sit behind a computer and do online dating. I recommend it, to try some of it. And like I said, many of my clients have that's really worked the best, because you can't beat the numbers. And you can only, your network is only as limited as it can be, and you can only go to so many places. We try to maximize that whole opportunity, but that's something that we work through. And I have my whole program and system that I work from. And then the last thing I think is not to look deeper and not make snap judgments about people. To really kind of give a nice person a chance and get to know them. You're not like, marrying them right away. If a guy comes on strong and he's not your cup of tea, then of course, you know what to do. But I almost miss my husband, because I can be very judgy. And it's just the way that, I look at somebody, in 7 seconds we make opinions about people, but we've been wrong. And actually in coaching, I actually took a class on assumptions, and we're wrong over 50% of the time. And I remember I was working with one of my clients, and she met this guy right after New Year's. I made her get back online. She had broken up with a guy in November. I said, get back online. You got to be online for New Year's Day. That's the busiest time for online dating. And she met actually her husband, and who's now her husband. But she actually went on 2 dates, 3 dates, and she's, I'm not feeling it, and I had looked at her values and all the goals, and like everything lined up so beautifully. But it actually took her a little longer, because he was more introverted. And sometimes I call it like peeling the layers of the onion. She had to get to the juicy part, take the time to get to the juicy. And she did actually fall for him. I mean, he's a terrific guy. He's everything that she'd ever want. He treats her like a princess. And they did get married actually the following summer. He was very motivated to marry. He was like 49, and he had achieved in his career, and this is the one thing that he didn't achieve in his life yet. So you really have to kind of look past that judger of yours, and really kind of look to make sure that you're not missing a good person.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Super. So valuable information, Amy. Thank you for being on the show today. And for the women or men who are listening right now, well, probably women, because it's, dating tips for single women, right? Because occasionally a man, listens.
They listen because they know that they want that information too. They're like, why do the men get all the good stuff?
Right. So like, oh, this is what the women are being taught. Oh, that's good to know. So what is it that, how can the listener, for those of you who are just tuned in, some might tune in later, what can they do to follow up more with you, to learn more about your work or get more
I think
engaged with your tools?
the best thing is to visit my website, motivatedtomarry.com. You can see my podcasts and my blogs and get some more information about me and my coaching programs. I also have a Facebook group, Motivated to Marry Singles, so they can, play around in there. We have some very interesting conversations going on there. And I also do some Facebook Live trainings. So that's I think the best way to start it. I mean, I think most people want to get a sense of who you are and what you have to offer. But until I hired a coach, I was kind of going on the same path. And I think that's why you're doing the work you're doing. You need someone to challenge you on your stuff. And to really, my coach really helped me kind of see things and from different perspectives and challenged my beliefs. And I was kind of carrying some stuff that I had to let go. And it might, like I said, I hired a coach at 40 and he was instrumental in helping me. I don't think I'd be married now if it wasn't for my coach. And we actually went together as a couple to work with the coach as well. And that was very impactful as well.
Awesome. It was so inspiring, Amy. It was such a pleasure to have you on the show. And for the listeners, check out motivatetomarry.com to get more information, learn more about Amy. And I'm your host, Antje Boyd, founder of Find One Elite. We'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.